Hey there, Stampers. This is Sherry Roth with Stamped Treasures. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada. And today I'm going to share this card with you using products from the Delicate Desert Suite from the January to April 2023 mini catalog. So first of all, let me share with you what is part of that collection and what we'll be using today. So first of all, we've got the Desert Details bundle, which includes this stamp set and then these fabulous dies. And then there is some DSP, really pretty DSP. It's called the Delicate Desert DSP. It's a 12 by 12 designer series paper. And I'll just go through the patterns here. They're such great generic kind of patterns, and the color combination is so beautiful. So the colors are Cajun Craze, Calypso Coral, Gray Granite, Pale Papaya, Petal Pink, and Soft Succulent. And then look at these. So pretty. And just look at this one. It's one of my favorites. I love this one as well. So many great patterns that you can use for so many different things. So that is the DSP, and then there is this faux velvet trim. This is Pale Papaya, so it coordinates. And then there are these gold faceted adhesive backed sequins, which I'm actually not using on this card. I thought that this card, because I added the pop of black, I felt like it needed some black. So I am using the matte black dots instead. Those are from the annual catalog. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so my card base is going to be a piece of Cajun Craze. And I forgot my adhesive bin. Let me just grab that. All right. So Cajun Craze is our card base. And then I've got a piece of white. This is a quarter sheet that we're going to use to stamp on, and then this is a 4 by 5¼ inch piece. This is going to be used for the inside, and then a narrow strip of white for some stamping as well. So we're going to start with our stamping. Let's do our greeting first. I'm going to use this greeting that says sending warm rays your way, and I'm going to stamp it in Memento. I'll just ink that up and stamp it down on here. So this is about a 1/2 inch strip. Okay, and then that's it for our black. Now we're gonna bring in some Cajun Craze. And we're gonna stamp this flower. Now this is, you can tell by the detail on here, this is one of our distinctive stamps. So I'm going to share a little tip on what will help you get a nice even impression. So I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blending brush and ink up my blending brush, but then just lightly go over my stamped image. And that will just soften the lines just a little bit so that you get that beautiful detail. And look at that. You get that nice detail. So we're going to repeat that and stamp the inside of our card. Just going to grab a scrap piece of paper here. Okay, let's move this up. So I want to add one of these flowers to the inside. So I'm just going to repeat that and just gently go over it. This helps if your ink pads are really, really well inked. So pretty. And then we're going to do our envelope as well. It's always nice to have a matching envelope. All right. Okay, so we're done with that. Actually, while we've got this ink out, what we're going to do is we are going to take our Pale Papaya cardstock Now, if you want measurements for this, all you have to do is just go to my blog. You can visit my blog and I'll have all the measurements for this card there. And what I've done is I've used the dies to create kind of like a little stencil. So I used this die right here and just used a scrap piece of cardstock. I think this is Highland Heather. It doesn't matter what color it is. And I started with the middle and I die cut it and then positioned some additional ones to create kind of a fun background. And we're gonna go ahead and use some temporary adhesive just to stick this down. And actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna center this on here first. And then I'm gonna flip it over and then my adhesive will stick it down, and I've got some Post-it tape. You can also use washi tape or Post-it notes to hold it in place. And then we're gonna use our Cajun Craze and we're just going to do some ink blending for a nice subtle background. I like to use a really light hand and add multiple layers rather than use a heavy hand and get some streaks that I don't want. And it's easier to add more layers than take off layers. Actually, I don't even know if I'm gonna need another layer. I think this is gonna be good. My ink pad is quite juicy. Okay. So now I think we're done with this color. We can set that aside and remove this and look at that fun background. Love it. I love this die right here. It's so fun. All right, next up, we are gonna bring in the smaller floral image and some pale papaya. And we're gonna stamp 2 of these. Now this one I find my ink pad isn't as juicy, so I can just go ahead and stamp that and I'll get a nice image. All right. Okay, so then we're gonna do some die cutting. Now I've already gone ahead and die cut these pieces, but let me show you what I used. Okay, so this large image will cut out this flower. This smaller image will cut out these 2. You'll also use this, so you'll cut one of those out. And then I also cut a 1 inch by 6 inch piece of DSP. So it's this particular pattern, the Cajun pattern. And I used this die to die cut that. And look how fun. It adds like an embossed pattern in there, but also gives you this kind of tooth edge, which is so fun. All right, the other thing that I die cut was a circle from the Stylish Shapes dies, which are in the annual catalog, and it's the second largest circle, and that's just cut from a piece of vellum. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces. We can go ahead and start assembling. Let me pull out my die cut pieces. There we go. All right, so we are gonna start by adding this piece to a piece of black that is just slightly larger. So we'll see just a smidge of that black around the edges. And then this will go on our card base. With a wider Cajun Craze border. I love varying the sizes of my borders. It just feels like it's, I don't know, it's a fancier card. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our greeting and we're just gonna use a little bit of seal. I'm gonna put some strip of that on here and add this so that we just see that little tooth edge. Stick that on there, and then I'm gonna angle cut this. Okay, and we're gonna start by adhering this piece. I'm just gonna use a little bit of adhesive where I know that I will cover it over, and it's gonna go in the center. And then we're gonna add, we're gonna add our ribbon next. And what I wanna do is, I wanted to add 2 strips of this, and I felt like it was too heavy as one solid piece. It is a thicker ribbon, so instead of using 2 strips, I decided to kind of cut down the middle to make it narrower, so it didn't feel quite so heavy. All right, and then we're gonna add a little bit of adhesive on here. Just add a couple strips. I'll do that. And that, and then we're gonna add our flower on top, and we're gonna use dimensionals for that. And I'm gonna put my dimensionals on here, on either side. And we're gonna pop our flower in the center. Okay, next up, we're gonna put this piece, so I'm just gonna pop out this. This is gonna get tucked right in here. I'm gonna use a little mini dimensional for on here and just put it on the base here because it is gonna sit over top of that ribbon. This is just gonna get tucked in here like that. And then this is gonna go on top like this. So we're gonna use a little mini dimensional on either side because it's gonna sit over these bits that are raised. So we don't need any adhesive in the middle. So get popped up here. Like that. And then we're gonna take these, I'm just gonna use my fingers and just kind of give them a bit more dimension. We'll add a little bit of adhesive on here and they're gonna get tucked underneath here. I'll do the same thing with this one. Pop that under there. Such a pretty card, and I just realized I forgot a step. But thankfully this adhesive is a little bit forgiving. So we're just gonna pop this off of here. And what I've done is I've taken some black twine and I've doubled it up and tied a bow. Now these ends are a little bit long. We're gonna trim them a little bit shorter. And what we're gonna do is just add a little dot of glue and pop this on here. And then we're gonna put this on here. So many layers on this card, I love it. All right, okay, the last step for the outside of our card is to add our black matte dots. So we'll pull those in. And I like to use my paper piercing tool to kind of pick them up off of here. We'll use 2 big ones and then 1 of the smaller ones. Okay, and there's the outside of our card, and we'll grab this inside layer. Just add a little bit of adhesive and pop that on the inside. And we've got this beautiful card that could be used as a thinking of you card, a thank you card. You could stamp happy birthday in there. It can really be used for any occasion. And there we go with our matching envelope. So I hope you guys enjoyed this project, this video. If you did and you are not yet a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate that. I will have a full supply list in the description below. If you live in Canada and don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd appreciate you shopping with me. All right, thanks so much for watching. Take care.